I never got to be a part of that environment, but I watched my dad's old VHS tapes and watched all the NASCAR races growing up with him. And eventually the driving aspect I actually got hooked on through video games.
The NASCAR XFINITY Series is coming to Portland International Raceway next weekend. It's an exciting time for race fans and the drivers. And one of those drivers is 20-year-old Eric Johnson Jr. of Woodland, Washington. A sports photographer Brian Warner and I made a visit to Woodland and took a step inside Eric's world. Welcome to the world of Eric Johnson Jr. of Woodland, Washington. A garage and a life full of racing. Eric's father, Eric Johnson Sr., was a race driver years ago and retired in the early 2000s. Jr. followed in his footsteps.
I never got to be a part of that environment, but I watched my dad's old VHS tapes and watched all the NASCAR races growing up with him. And eventually the driving aspect I actually got hooked on through video games.
Come on, there you go.
Eric learned fast and went fast.
I drove a race car before I ever drove a street car, which is pretty crazy to say, going 100 miles an hour on a racetrack before I ever even went 20 miles an hour on the street.
Johnson made his real racing debut in 2019 at South Sound Speedway. He won the race and is winning on the track and in life. Did I mention he builds cars?
Behind us here, the white and red one is my super late model I built last December of 2022. It's powered by a Chevy 350 sealed engine, makes about 420 horsepower to the wheel. We have a road racing late model over there in the corner, that black and blue one that will also run at Portland later this year for their Rose Cup races, their annual event. So really excited about that. And the special one sitting there, the black and orange one, that was my first ever car that I built and raced. So back when I was 15 years old, my parents, I was so grateful for them. They've been there every step of the way. They helped me get into it with that car, and it's been a ride ever since.
Now Eric will make his NASCAR debut at Portland International Raceway for the Pacific Office Automation 147.
My goal is to drive professionally for a living. It's ever since I started, it's been everything to me. It's been a dream of mine to just be able to get in a car every weekend and call that your job and your profession. And if I can get to the point where I'm working and driving race cars for a living, I'll be the happiest man on earth.
Eric's a great guy, and we wish him the best going forward.